to my channel. So today I'm going to be making some cream puffs, and a lot of people know them maybe as profiteroles or eclairs would fall in the same category. They're actually really easy to make at home, and I have been saving up all of my eggs for this moment because again, for a while it was really hard to find in the store. Now you can kind of see them again. They're coming back on the shelves without, disappearing so fast. But between the pastry cream and the dough, you do use about 10 eggs, but there is a little cheat that you can do if you want. If you did not want to make pastry cream from scratch, you can do the vanilla pudding, like Jello or whatever brand you like. Just make up a batch and use that as your filling. And that is, really an easy substitute. However, if you do decide to make pastry cream, it's actually just really, really delicious. And I am making vanilla pastry cream. Most recipes are the same across the board, so there isn't really anything special between one or the other. It is pretty basic. I'm pulling a recipe from a Dory Greenspan, and the book is Around My French Table. I will have that link down below in case you're interested. It is a pretty decent cookbook. And I will be starting with the pastry cream first so that it has a chance to cool and set. So for the cream, I am going to be using 6 egg yolks. I have separated them. The whites I'll use for something else. I have sugar, milk, cornstarch that I've already sifted, some butter, and vanilla extract. So I'm going to start with my egg yolks, sugar, and cornstarch, and I'm going to get this blended in a pot over some heat, and I'm going to just continue to whisk this until the sugar dissolves and the egg will turn color. And in a separate pan, or you can do it in a microwave, I am heating up my milk. And you do want to whisk this constantly so that there are no lumps and it doesn't scorch. Once this has thickened and you can see that the egg has kind of turned a paler yellow, you want to slowly add your milk. So this is boiling and you want to keep whisking for about a couple of minutes. It is thickening and I just want to, make sure that I keep stirring. But it's looking pretty good. And as you're whisking, you do want to scrape the sides of the pan with the twine, or I don't even know how to call it, but a leg of the whisk. You want to, just go ahead that everything gets kind of scraped down into this mixture. Otherwise it'll dry out. It's not going to incorporate into your custard. Then after you pull it off the heat, you're going to add in your vanilla. Whisk this in really well, and you're going to let it just kind of stay for about 5 minutes. Okay, so now you're going to go ahead and add in a little bit of butter at a time and whisk it. And fully incorporate it before you add more. And the mixture is really hot, so it will melt down pretty quick. So the last bit of my butter is in, and my cream has gotten smooth and glossy. And then I'm going to let this chill. So I am going to put it in a separate container. And, scrape everything out because you just put in the effort to make some homemade pastry cream. And I'm also going to cover this with plastic wrap and basically, you know, just get it to the edge on the inside, and I curve my finger so I can get there. And then this will go in the fridge to cool. I'm gonna wait just a little bit though because it's still a little bit warm. So maybe another 5-10 minutes on the counter and then into the fridge. And then for my dough, I'm going to be using some milk as well as water, and that's measured out here in the measuring cup. I have flour, I have eggs, butter, and in this little cup I have my salt and sugar mixed together. You're really gonna want a wooden spoon. If you have a stand mixer, you can use that, but I never do. I just do the wooden spoon method. So prior to starting the dough, you do want to preheat your oven and prepare your sheet pans. I just lay parchment paper down on mine, but if you'd like to use silk pats, you can if you have them. So to a pan, I've put together the milk, water, butter, salt, and sugar, and I'm going to be bringing this to a boil. And once it's boiling, I'm going to add my flour. Now for this, I'm using a wooden spoon. For me, it works. I like it. There's a bit of elbow grease that will go into it later on, but you know, I find this to be simple and easy enough. I'm not going to bother with my stand mixer. Plus, I don't have it with me, so I'm going to be using the wooden spoon. So now that my mixture is boiling, I'm going to add my flour, and I'm going to just start mixing this really quickly so that the flour can kind of come together, hydrate. You don't want to see streaks of white, you know, you want to get this incorporated. If your pan gets hot, you can actually use like an oven mitt. I use a towel. And you want to keep doing this for a couple of minutes, and the dough will start to dry out. Then you're going to pull the pan off of the heat, and as you can see, there's a bit of like a film that has formed, and that's fine. And the dough has kind of, you know, come together, pulled away from the sides, and this is good. I'm just going to leave it alone for about a minute. Then you're going to start adding your egg in one at a time, and then just beat the heck out of it until it's incorporated before adding the next. And then you'll end up, you know, scraping a little bit what's on the bottom as well. So you do want to do this quickly. You don't want to have like a scrambled egg in your pot. Just work as fast as you can. Add the second one. And you know, it's going to take a while before it to come together. If it's looking like this, that's fine. It's supposed to happen. So once you've added your final egg in, and you're going to whisk it, it will start to come together. And you're going to keep doing this actually until it starts to, you know, form an actual dough. It's going to take some elbow grease, but that's okay. No one's going to the gym right now, so this is going to be your workout for the day. Now I like to kind of collect my dough to one side of my pan, and this is something that I just do. It's not, you know, recipe specific, but I like to get it to one side so it'll be a little bit easier to work with. This is not a dough that needs to rest. You make it and you bake it. So that's why it's nice to preheat your oven and prepare your pans beforehand, because before then you're just kind of busy stirring and mixing. Okay, so you want to make sure that you scrape as much of the dough as you can. You don't want to waste anything, and this yields, well, for about 2 dozen. However, it's also going to depend on the size that you make them. So you just want to be consistent. I'm using a teaspoon spoon, and then I'm just going to kind of mound it and place it on my sheet tray. And I'm not flattening it out. I do want this to be like a mound of dough. And so now these are ready to go into the oven. So I have pulled these out of the oven, and they need to cool. I'm not going to handle them right now. I will do that later on. Hi everyone, welcome back. It is now the next day, and I want to fill the cream puffs. So to resuscitate the actual puffs, I have laid them out on a sheet pan, put them in the oven to warm up for a couple of minutes on 250 degrees, pulled them out, and now I've let them cool slightly, and I'm going to cut the tops. So as I'm cutting them, I'm going to cut the top third and have that as my lid, and I'm going back and forth with a serrated knife, and I'm gonna cut all of them at once, and then I'll fill all of them at once, and then I will sugar them all together. The other thing that I am gonna use are little cupcake liners. Now I made mine small enough that if I open it up, they can set in there just fine, but if you make yours larger, then just go ahead and use a regular cupcake liner. So I ended up with 22, and I'm going to fill it. I don't have a pastry bag, so I'm going to use a Ziploc. My cream has set up really nice, and what I'm going to do, I'm basically going to put the pastry cream in my Ziploc bag, and I'm going to get it to one corner. If you do have a pastry bag, you can use this, and if you do have a pastry bag, then you already know how to do this. So then what you'll do, I'm going to leave the top open, but I'm going to control it with one hand, with my dominant hand, and I'm going to squeeze the air out. And then I'm gonna snip the tip, and this will be my mock pastry bag. And then I can start filling. So when you open this up, some of them will have like a little cavity, and it'll be kind of easy. But if not, you're gonna force this. You're gonna make a cavity, and it will go. It will have somewhere to go. And you want to fill them so that there is some cream going above. This way, when you put the lid on it, it'll kind of poke around the sides. Okay, so like this, it doesn't quite have a hole, but I'm gonna make one. I'm gonna create one, and I'm gonna fill this with some cream and arrange my top. If you feel like your cream is escaping, well, all you have to do is push it from the top and bring it back down. If you're thinking like that your cupcake liners won't fit your cream puffs, you're gonna make it fit. You're gonna pop this open, and it's just a landing space, so that it's a little bit easier to pick up by the sides. And then I'm going to sprinkle this with powdered sugar. And you could be fairly liberal with this because the dough is not that sweet, and even the cream, it's not like overly sweet. So This is kind of about the sugar on top at this point, and I'm wearing my apron, so I don't have to worry about getting sugar all over me. So here they are, ready to be put on a better plate because I'm not gonna have this on the table. Okay, so here they are. They are ready for later, and then some leftovers, and then some to give. I'm not gonna eat this right now because I've made it before. I know what it tastes like, and it's delicious, especially if you're having some coffee after dinner. I made them a little bit on the smaller side. You can make them a little bit bigger. Some people make them really small and then poke a hole from the bottom and fill it that way, but this is how I like to make them. Now, the other thing is, if you make the dough, you don't just have to fill it with pastry cream. You can fill it with ice cream and then maybe drizzle some chocolate sauce over, or I don't know, just like plain whipped cream you can do, and same thing, drizzle some chocolate sauce or powdered sugar. There is a little bit of flexibility to do this how you would like, but this is pretty classic. I will have a couple of notes down in the description box as far as some useful tools if you don't have them already, or the cookbook that I did pull the recipe from. Again, it's Dory Greenspan's Around My French Table. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.